Hey folks, welcome back. This is the review of the Cintiq. I've been using it for a couple months now. I have explored the ins and outs. I've had some fun with it, had some frustrations with it, but overall, I do love using the machine. Alright, let's get into it. The machine's fun to use. I love the express keys. It makes life so much easier. I love the fact that I can use Photoshop, Illustrator, and it's a full-fledged PC. I just love that fact versus using something that's an Android device, and it's just frustrating because your limitations are very glaring, and the challenges of the limitations are there. As far as using this, you're using Windows Pro, you're running full-fledged programs, you're able to really power through things. There's no true limitation as far as the programs go because they're all the full-fledged programs that you use on a daily basis on a normal computer. So, I mean, this is a normal computer, basically, is what it comes down to in a tablet form factor. Few things, though, that I found challenging when I first installed Photoshop, CC, and that whole entire suite. I noticed that when I was working with, there was a little bit of lag and a little bit of this and that. But that was me with a learning curve. Definitely a couple changes that I made right off the bat is I changed the balance performance to a high performance, and if I know I'm going to need to use it and need to extend that battery, I will switch it over to a balanced or minimal performance level. So when you're working with the machine, that's something to keep in mind. The interaction with Windows, definitely a learning curve. Definitely doesn't have that feel that the Mac does of a complete OS. There are things that I miss from using the Mac, like the quick view, the multiple desktops. I know the multiple desktops are coming, so I'm well aware of that. And at the end of July, I will be installing Windows 10, so I can get that feature. Yeah, I know there are third parties out there that can do some of this stuff, but we're talking right out of the box. These are the challenges that going from Mac to a PC you're gonna have. So getting adjusted and getting accustomed to the new different interactions, unique to the experience. But it's really a welcome change. This is more of a workhorse OS versus elegance. That's the balance, but that's something you're going to have to work through and really get into to really get used to it. Overall, though, I mean, I've been having a lot of fun with it. Using Illustrator to do a lot of drawing, using the pen, there's so much actual capabilities with Illustrator and getting that pen pressure to work and the tilt to work. It's very simple, interactive. Photoshop, obviously, we all already know how well that works, and it's well designed for it. But back to the device itself, before I get too much on a tangent, I definitely love the pen. One thing I would like to see with the pen is a similar material as the tip on the eraser, just so you can get that same friction feel to it. Really minor, but still. Using this as a daily driver, you really want that feel. You really want that comfort that you get out of using it as if it was on paper. You're never going to get that actual paper feel, but this is as close as I have ever come to actually having that paper feel. It's not, the surface isn't slick. I'm actually getting used to the semi-gloss, and I'm actually liking that better than the high gloss that you get with a lot of devices nowadays. So that's not much more there. One thing I do have issues with is the camera position and the light sensor positions. To me, that they're a challenging location because I am a left-handed person, and so they are on the bottom of the device instead of on the top. So the sensor doesn't work well. It'll randomly adjust the brightness. So I ended up turning that off, and so it's not being used, and that resolved the problem, obviously. But I'd like to see those in a better location. I don't know what would be a good location because you have people with right-handed, left-handed use it. The only thing I can think of is on either this side or this side. Actually, this side in the center might be an ideal place for the sensor. As far as the camera goes, I have no clue. Either add a secondary camera in the front so you have two cameras, and that based on tilt that can be utilized. One thing I would recommend, if you're going to be working on a table, find something to prop this up a little bit, bring it up a little higher, so you're able to move towards the bottom of the display. Now, another thing that I've run into that I'd like to see improved, not really important, has no real impact on workflow, but something I'd like they should have done because you're paying the money for it. They should have put an AC wireless card in here. That would have give you faster speeds up to the internet when you're working and give you more flexibility as far as the wireless goes. These are the reasons why I would have liked to see that. But I've had no issues with the wireless at all. And you got to keep in mind, as we progress forward, more and more things are going to be going up towards that cloud. So you really want that top of the line power when it comes to the hard drive. This version has the 512 in it, so it's a good size. But I would like to see in the next version even bigger SSD drive. And they're becoming cheaper, they're becoming faster, and they're becoming more reliable. And so with those all in mind, I'd like to see the next version with a better card, drive, whatever you want to call it. One gripe that really bothers most people, and I have noticed that it is fairly true, but it's not too harsh, is the noise the fan makes. Something that with their next version they might want to look into better fan technology and better heat distribution. As well, with those in mind, that'll help reduce the noise that the machine makes. And as time progresses on, I'd like to see them move away from the internal graphic cards that comes with the Intel devices to something like NVIDIA's card, where you have a separate memory for the video. That'll allow for more polygons to be on the screen. That'll allow for those 3D artists to really be able to get into it. Yeah, I understand that this is a mobile device. That isn't what the issue is there. I mean, the Iris is a good, I wouldn't say it's a great card. It's good. Does a good job. The resolution is really high on that it can handle. But something on the lines like an NVIDIA or an ATI separate card from Intel will allow you to have a more robust system, and you'll still have that Iris card inside, or whatever the version at the next level will be. So, alright, anyways, I think that's pretty much covers everything that I want to talk about. I'd give this thing maybe a 4-star rating out of 5. This one's great for artists. I wouldn't recommend anything less. They have a decent cheap version to a fairly expensive version that's priced comparable towards the Mac. So they're now at this point, I don't want, if I as an artist, As a graphic designer, I would almost say it is worthwhile leaving Mac. They're not going to be. I know this. I love my Mac, but as far as Apple's concerned, we're not an important set of clients anymore, and they're focusing more on mobile devices and mobility versus higher end performance and functionality. So you haven't seen any real refresh of their laptops in a few years now. And I don't see them planning on doing anything different than what they're progressing as, and really starting to really focus more on mobile and less on the graphic industries that help build them. So it may be time, especially with devices like this at a comparable price, to move over to something of this, which is very close to workstation functionality and power. So, alright, battery life, before I forget and before I go, it's very close to what they say it is on the website. I've gotten 4.5 to 5 hours out of it, and I've also gotten up 2 hours out of it. It all is going to depend on what you are doing with the device and how much machine work. How hard is it working will depend on how long that battery lasts. I've gotten, like I said, 4 to 5 hours out of it, and I've gotten 2 to 3 hours out of it, but that was depending on what I was doing. When I was working on editing video and stuff, really got very little time out of the battery, which makes total sense because you're really pushing the load on the processor. When I was just simply drawing in Photoshop on a low resolution image, that time really extended out to the 4.5, 5 hours. But with a larger image, I mean like a good size, heavy, big image in Photoshop, you're putting more pressure on that processor to do more work. And that really can drain the battery fairly quickly. Again, like I said, I've gotten anywhere from 2 hours to about 5 hours out of it. It's very close to what the website says. The specs are right on. I think it's fairly accurate. One thing, I guess, in the future models, if they want to, is take a look at battery technology at that point and determine if there's ways of increasing that. But all honestly, 4.5, 5 hours of battery life is pretty decent, and I'd say I'm very happy with that, and I have no issues of that whatsoever. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you all liked it. Please, if you want to see more videos, go ahead and subscribe. If you want to leave a comment, please do so. Thanks again for watching.